What's up, chatters? It's your girl, Kathy Chit Chat. Make sure to give a like, comment, follow, subscribe, or you can catch me on Fakebook, Fedbook, every now and then. But there's been a lot of cyberbullying and things going on online and Facebook, and I think people don't know like where the line is drawn or if you're crossing the line, so to say. And if you haven't been following the story with LaTruth and his ongoing divorce with his wife, give it a follow. You know, the wife is Brianna, the husband is LaTruth. They're both on Facebook, and it's like a Facebook frenzy. But a lot of things have gone on that made me look into just exactly what is illegal with just my past experience and things of that nature, and I'll keep that out of it. But one thing a lot of people always ask or want to know is, can I share text messages? And the answer is yes. No, you know what I'm saying? You can share text messages. You can share a text message that you had with someone else. However, what I do when I don't trust someone or it's not someone that I'm in a great rapport with, so to say, you do have to put it in writing that you do not consent to it. So a simple through the text, hey girl, just a FYI, I don't consent to these messages being shared or screenshot, will eliminate a lot of problems and a lot of heartache, you know, down the road if that's not something that you want out there, because it can ultimately get you in legal litigation and trouble legally. Okay. And especially if someone sends something to you, let's just say if I'm in a conversation with John Smith and then I decide to share that conversation with John Smith, there's a fine line, but ultimately I can be held responsible for someone sharing that private information, especially if it was anything involving my health or minors or things of that nature. So screenshots, it's a fine line, but I would still tread lightly as I would with anything. Also, a lot of people think that they're safe with creating like a fake profile online or hiding behind a fake profile. And it's actually the opposite. You know, you can get in a lot of trouble, and that's a federal crime for, you know, lying or pretending to be someone else if caught. And there's always a way to catch you. So I would just keep that in mind as well with creating a phony profile or even engaging a phony profile. Like, for example, if I went on Facebook right now and I decided to be Tina Turner, no disrespect because we recently lost her, if caught, I can be federally prosecuted for creating that fake profile or just a fake profile with a fake name in general. That can get you in a lot of trouble. People think it's the safe thing to do. I won't be seen, but it's actually just the opposite. Also, too, a lot of times where let's just say if someone posts something about you online and you don't like it and you ask them to take it down, or you even report it and it's not removed from the person or either the app itself, then that's when you get yourself into multi-million-dollar lawsuits. And a lot of those companies and apps don't want that. So let's just say if Susan Smith decided to say that I am stupid and I, in writing, tell Susan Smith to remove it, Susan says not to, then I reported to the app that it was mentioned on. And if the app doesn't decide to do that, then guess what? I can go to my doctor. I can say it caused me anxiety. Teladoc is really good, just giving you some tips because you can get a prescription and diagnosis really quickly. And I can say this has caused me anxiety. You know what I'm saying? So also, when it comes to taking photos, if you're outside, let's just say if we're at a carnival, I can take a picture of you and share that because we are in a public setting. Now, if I do that and we are in your home or my home, that's a different story. That's a totally different ball game. So got to be careful with sharing photos as well. Public setting, okay, but if you're in my home or vice versa, or anything that's private, bathroom, things of that nature without consent, then now I'm getting myself in trouble and I'm putting myself in trouble and in legal litigation if I choose to release that, you know, on any social media platform. You need consent to do that, period. So it gets into a gray area a lot of the times, because different states have different rules, but it's just, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't even want to play with that, especially when it comes to recording. Now, that's one that can really, 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 really get you in a lot of trouble with recording a conversation and then like releasing it to the public. A lot of the times that is a felony offense, and you can find yourself in a lot of trouble for that as well in a civil suit when it comes to illegally recording someone and then putting it out for the world to see for the world to hear without them knowing. Like, for example, in North Carolina, one party would have to grant consent to being recorded. Like, if you're in the state of North Carolina, a party would have to grant consent to actually being recorded. Otherwise, you just committed a damn crime and your ass can get in trouble. All of this is available online. Never take the word of someone. This is something that you need to research yourself and move and conduct yourself accordingly at the end of the day. Now, with video recordings, like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to private, that must be consent. Period. So I can't record you at home without your consent and then put it on social media. I can't record you in your home without your consent and put it on social media on any platform. That's just an ultimate no-no and not something to do. Now, keep in mind, now if we're out at the carnival or the grocery store, that's a different story. But if it's anywhere private, home, bathroom, then you just committed a crime and can get yourself in trouble. So in Georgia, Georgia is a little tricky, because in Georgia, you and we can record one another, so to say, without the other party having to grant consent, if we are both in the state of Georgia. Now, let's just say if I'm in Georgia and I recorded someone on a phone conversation and they don't reside in Georgia, that's when you're actually committing a crime, and that's a different ball game. But if the two people are actually in Georgia, that's a different story. However, again, it gets tricky, because if it's in a private location, then you get in trouble. For example, someone's home, someone's personal vehicle that's registered to them, so it's always fine tape, so to say. For the most part, you can find yourself in trouble. It just what it is. There's fines associated with this. There's jail time associated with a lot of this when it comes to how to conduct yourself online. And you can ultimately find yourself in a lot of trouble. So it's best to just not engage. And like I said, in all of my text correspondence with people that I don't have a rapport with, I put it in writing that I do not grant consent for any sort of screenshot. So also, to look up certain penal codes in certain states, because California is very, very strict on that. So let's just say if I recorded someone that lives in California, then I really got myself into a lot of trouble, because they don't play and they take that very, very seriously. Get familiar with the Federal Wiretap Act and look that up, because that's something that was designed years ago, and it really outlines of communication and recording and things of that nature. Now, unless you're authorized to do so by law, being the feds or things of that nature, that's a different story. But just your average Joe, you really, really want to be careful when it comes to recording someone, so you don't find yourself in trouble and in somebody's courtroom. You have to protect you. Now, for example, if you're in Ohio, that is a major, major crime to record someone, so it gets so tricky, and depending on the state and where the person resides, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble, because some states have harsher penalties than other states when it comes to releasing certain information online, recording certain conversations, etc., etc. It can really, really, again, get you in a lot of trouble. So it's always best to protect you. Now, with posting about someone online, please look up Penal Code 653.2. If you ask someone to remove it and they do not, and the app keeps it up, then again, you can find yourself involved in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, especially if this causes their business harm or them harm financially, emotionally, things of that nature. So again, a lot of times people go for the head honcho, the creator of the app, and that's why a lot of these companies have been involved in billion-dollar lawsuits that they probably get daily because of things like this, especially with suicide on the rise and teen bullying and things of that nature. They take it very seriously if they're ever contacted by an attorney, because they kind of don't want that negative, they don't want that negative rapport. Okay. So again, look up your laws in your state. Always move with the intent to protect you, and know that a lot of these things can either find you in jail or costing a lot of money. Until next time, stay chatting.